You may not know this about Dear Woke Christian. I used to really enjoy comic books. I was a comic book fan from the end of my high school years into college, and every now and then I still enjoy a good series. So I'll grab a graphic novel, I'll grab a series and just enjoy reading. I enjoy comic books. A couple reasons why, by the way. Do you know that comic books are written on a higher level, vocabulary level than most newspapers? Well, this was true in the 90s at least. The comic books were written on a much higher level. The vocabulary in comic books was much higher than that of your modern day newspaper. I've given up over the last couple of years because I feel like the trajectory of your big comic books has really just gone in the realm of just insanity. There's a lot of demonic stuff that's being addressed in comics that's not cool. There's a lot of cultural things that are being addressed in comics that are not cool. So I just say, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good with that. Most of your movies, most of your summer blockbusters are adaptations of comics. Okay. And most of them for the last decade or so have been adaptations of comics. So I think it's fair to say that comics are part of Americana. They're part of society. They're part of culture. I think we can all agree on that. So one of the things that comes up quite a bit is that comic book writers are lazy. They're not trying new things. They're not trying to venture off into new directions. They just take old concepts that worked and they rework them. They take things that worked before in the past, they slice and dice it differently, maybe put in a different character here, change the background, change the scenery where it happened, but it's the same thing. And you know this to be true when you realize most of you are aware of what's called the multiverse. Well, the multiverse is just a lazy way of using the same character, but putting him or her in a slightly different situation. And a perfect example would be Spider-Man. Okay. You all know the traditional Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Got you. But in the multiverse, adding the multiverse, they were able to bring in Miles Morales and all these other entities or other people to be Spider-Man. And it just, at the end of the day, a lot of them are really just reshoots and riffs off of Peter Parker. Miles Morales is just a black Peter Parker. Just tell the truth, shame the devil. That's it. You see it quite a bit in Batman. I mean, there have been black Batman there, and a lot of these characters are really just the same Bruce Wayne story told slightly different, a little bit of nuance, a little bit of deviation, but nothing new, nothing new. The reason I'm bringing all of this up is because comic books, we're going to use them as our foundation for this discussion. Comic books, not only are they super lazy, they don't expect you to realize it. Now, Jason, where are you going with that? I appreciate you. So you've heard quite a bit of stir when a comic book character is reimagined. Like, for example, Heimdall in Thor. In the comics, he's white. He's a white guy. Well, in the movie, he's black. Nick Fury. All right. Nick Fury traditionally was a white guy. And I admit Samuel Jackson murdered that role. And I'm glad they made Nick Fury. I'm glad they chose Samuel Jackson to be Nick Fury. But they chose Samuel Jackson because Samuel Jackson is a phenomenal actor. And I'm not taking anything away from any others. But Samuel Jackson, he owned that doggone role. Let's just tell the truth, shame the devil. He owned it. So therefore, yeah, it totally made sense. But Jane Foster Thor, why did we need a woman Thor? Why? Why did we need that? Who asked for that? Now, another thing that you notice also in this laziness that I'm talking about is that is not only gender swapping, but race swapping. And I want to call out that DC and Marvel are making no attempts to be original. They're making no attempts to be to push the narratives of comic books forward in any way, shape, or form. And I want to show you how I make that assessment. So let's go. This might be fun. You may or may not have known this, but on Wikipedia, you can do a Wikipedia for anything. Okay, let's just tell the truth. You can do anything on Wikipedia. Well, there's actually a Wikipedia of Black superheroes. And I thought this was fun. I pulled this up because this one actually lists every comic book genre out there that has Black characters. Okay, so I thought that was pretty dope. So we're going to look at DC and we're going to look at Marvel, and I want to show you something. DC Comics. Here is an exhaustive list of every black superhero that is in DC Comics, or black character that's in DC Comics currently. Okay. There's Cyborg, and you probably already know about him. Okay. We know about Black Lightning. We know about them. Okay. There are a ton of them. So my question is, when you have this many black characters already, they're already established. You already have them here. You don't need to change anybody's race. You don't need to change Superman's race. You don't need to change Wonder Woman's race. You already have far more than enough. Why do you need to? Why do you do that then? Why do you change James Gordon when you have so many other black characters that could easily do that? Why? Why do you do that? And I'm gonna go back and we'll see this here in Marvel as well. I'm gonna pull up Marvel as well. They have they have I think actually Marvel has more. And we know that, the traditional Black Panther. Okay, but there are tons of other black characters that, if Marvel and if DC were really serious about pushing new characters and pushing and the exploring new opportunities, if they really wanted to, they have so many black characters that they could already tap, they could already pick and dig into and build their mythos and all of that kind of good jam. Go as far as they build their universe. Okay, you could do all of that. There's so many of them, but they don't. Why is it that they don't? Why don't they give a nod to all of these other black characters if they want to? And there's also not only black. They have Asian characters. They have Hispanic characters. They have tons of other ethnic group characters as well. So I'm only pointing out this about black characters, but the same thing applies to countless others. So why do they not do that? Why is it that they don't tap all of these other well-known characters, but they go back and they go ahead and give us Miles Morales Spider-Man, which is, again, he's just black Peter Parker. But there's so many other characters. There's countless other characters that they could be giving us. And why do they not do that? Why do they not give us Rocket Racer? Why do they not give us Pathway? Why do they not give us Night Watch? Why are they not giving you these characters? And if they really cared about diversity and they really cared about the such like that, I have a proposition for you. The only characters that are valid, the only characters that matter, the only characters that are worthy to be pushed out are white characters. DC, Marvel, prove me wrong. But they are basically saying the only valid superhero characters, the only valid comic book characters are white. And the only way to make a black character valid is to take that white character, race swap him, race swap her, and put it back out there to the general populace. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Stop making black Kryptonians. Stop it. Give us something original. There are countless original characters already out there. If Marvel DC really wanted to give you some quality entertainment, and they cared about black people, or they cared about Hispanic or Asian people or other ethnicities, they would just go ahead and they would already tap what they already have. There's so many black and Asian and Hispanic characters. They could literally just grab one of them and run with it and make it work. Instead, they choose to take an established character, Batgirl, and make her black, and then get mad at you that you don't accept it. They take Firestorm and make her black, and get mad at you and call you a racist or a bigot because you don't support it. Maybe because you're being lazy. Maybe deep down inside, we don't want you to show us your racism, your bigotry, by saying the only valid Batgirl is the white Batgirl. There's so many other characters that you could actually expand on, and they're already in existence. You don't have to go through here doing all of this shenanigans and hijinks. You literally could just tap one of these characters and make it work. I mean, they did do Blade. Let's give them credit. Let's say Blade. Everybody remembers Blade from the late 80s and 90s. That was a fantastic super, and a lot of people didn't consider it a superhero, but that was a fantastic series. Like you could do a lot with that. You could do so much with that if you cared, if you really care. That's an original character, and he doesn't need to work alongside Batman. He doesn't need to partner up with Wonder Woman. He doesn't need to do a collab with Spider-Man. He can do it as well himself if you cared. I mean, there's tons of other characters, and they don't need to have black in their name, like Black Fury or whatever. But I mean, come on, you can do this. And hey, T'Challa, Black Panther, that is a fantastic, that was a fantastic movie. I think the comics have been fairly good as well. And you could do that, and you don't need to make it the anti-white character. Just make it a character that people really want to invest their time in, invest their $5-6 for a comic into, invest their time to go to movies and watch. Just do that. If you really cared about this genre, you would put out content that people actually wanted to watch, people actually wanted to invest in and put their money into. And at the current moment, they're not doing that. And they're going to sit there and tell you that, hey, well, it's something about you. You're a bad person. You're a bigot. No, DC, Marvel, y'all just write trash. That's what it is. You're not giving them good characters. And we didn't even talk about other swaps and the such like that. There's original characters out there. Use those original characters. Don't give us a black Captain America. Don't give us a woman Captain America. That's not the character that most people are familiar with. If you want to use that, give us a new character, or take an established character that's already there and put your time, effort, and talents behind it to make that character great. But rather than that, you just give us a gender swap, give us a race swap, and such of that nature, and expect us to just take it. When people don't want to take the hot garbage, you get mad. It's not that, it's the fact that you put no effort into providing a character that people actually want to support and people actually want to get behind and give their eyes to, give their money to. That's the problem. Again, and we have a glut of other characters that you could roll out with. And you won't Marvel and DC. And now please keep in mind, there are tons of other comic book brands out here and the such. So it's not just Marvel and DC. You know, Marvel and DC, you're not going to do anything more than keep giving us that rehash. And people are not going to take that rehash, and you're going to be upset. You're not going to see the growth that you expect to see because people don't want you to just recirculate a traditionally white character and say basically the only way we can get you interested in Aquaman is by giving you a black Aqua lad. The only way we can get you interested in Wonder Woman is to give you a repurposed Wonder Woman, giving her kinky hair and calling her Nubia. That's the only way we can get you interested in it. And DC, Marvel, y'all can do better than that. But that's why you're failing. That's why you're getting lapped by other content creators who are not doing that. They're focusing on good stories. They're focusing on original characters and giving the people what they want to see, which is ultimately fantastic content, not just phony representation or phony race and gender swaps for no good reason. That's it. And please keep in mind, you're welcome to make the adjustment and change. I don't think you will, but I think that the people are showing that they're voting with their dollars, that they don't want this type of content. And you'll continue to fail. You'll continue to fall behind, and you'll continue to just blame the audience. You'll continue to blame everybody else. You don't get it. You're a bigot. You're a xenophobe. You're this, you're that, rather than y'all are whack.